Dragon versus Ruby. This is a Chess 960 game, or Fischer Random, if you will. Here we go. Let's get right into it. Okay, so you see pieces on the back rank are all mixed up. We also definitely have to get the queens and the bishops out very quickly, because if they get bad, it's going to be a bad game, right? So let's see d4, right? Still principles, attack, center play, right? d4 is still the same. The principles stay the same in chess. d4, f5, knight d2, develop your pieces. And then queen f7, getting the queen out early. Now, of course, not too early. Don't develop it all the way out, but definitely move it somewhere, get it off the back rank, so maybe you can castle later. Okay, knight to d3. These knights are close to being centralized, but we do need to make moves like knight f3, knight e5, or even e4. So after d6, e4 does actually happen. So we have e4 and d4 still striking in the center. F takes e4. Knight takes c4 and knight to d7. Now this one prepares to castle, but it also blocks the bishop. But of course, you do have to develop your pieces, right? So knight f to d7. In fact, they both can go here. Knight f to d7. Bishop e2, nice development. And after the castles, we have knight g5. Cool. I mean, this looks like a reroute move. Attacking the queen. This is defended. We're probably going to move the knight, right? Maybe just move it because we don't have anything. The bishop would love to be on d3, but it's not there. So we have queen to g6. Nice move here. Of course, this is attacking the knight. If you move the knight, there is going to run into queen takes g2 as well. So h4 defends the knight. But it looks kind of weird because, like, I'm just going to kick you away and then take this pawn. Now, it is going to happen, but knight b6 was played first. Of course, we just want to open up lines for our pieces and, of course, not block the bishop as well. But after knight to b6, there's f4 now. So he's really going in on, like, letting you play queen takes g2. Maybe there's a queen trap, right? h6 happens. And now what do we do about this? Where do we move the knight? It's up to you, white, to move. What do you do? What do you do? We move the knight nowhere. That was a trick question. I got you. Of course, if you did move the knight, then of course, like, you might be in trouble, right? That's a knight f3. Okay, knight f3. I can just take on g2 in many cases here. Queen takes g2, rook h2, and I just go back home. I can also go queen g4. It's really nothing. Now, it does look very attacking-like. I mean, I actually would love this position for white still as well, and it's actually equal, but you don't move the knight. You go bishop h5 first, right? Okay, cool. Queen f5. Now we move the knight, right? Okay, where do we move the knight? We have to move the knight, right? Where do we move next? Right to move, okay? We move the knight nowhere. Gotcha. Bishop f3. What do you think this is? Oh my goodness, it's about to get crazy. This is engine-like work. In fact, after bishop f3, it's a brilliant move. Well, brilliant how? I don't have pieces developed. How? I mean, what? I'm going to take the knight, says Ruby. I'm going to take you up on this ridiculous piece sacrifice. H takes g5, of course, opening up the file with a smile here. Queen e6 check. How do you handle the check now? You just sack the piece. You're feeling all good, right? You got to open the H file. Your queen's not out. And you're in check now. And, like, where are you going to put your king? You're going to block with a bishop? This bishop? You're going to block with the queen? King f2? Put yourself on the file like this? King d2? What is this? Well, in fact, the move is king to d2. When you stop and look at this position, first off, it's wacky. It's absolutely everything you would get in Chess 960, Fischer Random. Number two here, what we did was a piece sacrifice, a positional piece sacrifice, not just a tactical one, but a positional one. There is no immediate mate. There is no way to this actually saying that this all the way works. In fact, right now is zeros. Now that actually does say a lot. Pieces are all in the back rank. I have an open file. I can slowly work my pieces over here to the king side and go for this mate. But this is brilliant, purely in a positional piece sacrifice. Absolutely cool stuff. Okay, after king to d2, we see c5 here. So c5 is a move trying to open things up. You got to move your pieces around. Desperately trying to create some counterplay is what c5 is about. After the c5 move, what do you think the route would be? What is the way that we play from here? We need to get pieces, obviously, on the h file. You would love to get the queen, right, to like h4, h something, right? You just, how do we get there? Like, how do we get there? White to move, what do you do? Here it is, right? Very nifty move. G4, not caring about anything. The idea here is to move the queen to f1 and then h3. Very cool. It also helps me play f5 in many cases, which I'm going to show you guys some cool lines later. Okay, c takes d4. He's like, I don't care nothing about this pawn, right? Queen f1, we're going to follow the plan. Knight c4 check. Now, it looks like we're going to hand castle here, right? And we step out of the way. There is no check on e3 because the bishop on g1. Weirdly, the bishop's on g1. Of course, that's just 960. But bishop on g1 defends the square. We're still threatening queen to h3. Okay, knight to c6. Queen h3, finish the attack. Black has to do moves that he's playing. You got to get pieces out, or I mean, you're going to get mated either with pieces out or without pieces out. So you probably want to get pieces out, right? If you're so you can not get mated, or at least limit the chances of that. Queen h3 and then queen g6. So queen g6 is staying around the h7 pawn. And then we have bishop d5 check, which is really nice, hitting the c4 knight. Cool, perfect. So you would expect bishop e6, right? Bishop e6 seems like a move you could just play. But I need you to find it. In fact, bishop e6 is incorrect. This is not a move, right? Now, what's the sequence of moves? Can you find it? White to move. What do you do here? What do you do? How do we finish this off correctly? Here's the move. In fact, it's a nice sequence. You start with bishop takes e6. Actually, after bishop e6, sorry, bishop e6 here. You start with bishop takes e6, and then queen takes e6. And then instead of checking, which actually runs into zeros immediately, you play f5. Wow, what a move. What a move. There's no checks. And you're like, well, what if I just move the queen? It's not made, bro. It's not made. Well, in fact, you could go queen h7, but you have to go back to h5. And then you need the move that you're missing is the g pawn. So this g4 pawn hitting f5 as well, g6. And there's mate everywhere. You cannot stop the mate. You can't find a move that stops the mate. Everything is checkmate. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful here. So we can't play bishop e6. So we're already getting some material back as white here. e6, right, blocks it. We take on c4. Boom. Now, it's better to attack when material is level, and that's what we have here, level material. Knight a5, and after knight a5, you know, we play the b3 move, which is interesting here. It keeps the bishop intact, right? And bishop b3 is probably possible too as well, but b3. The move that baffled me was b5 here. I'm like, b5, what is going on in this game, right? As a human, you're going to snatch this bishop as fast as it got there. You can't leave this bishop here. But so I was curious to see what happens if we just, if bishop c4 instead of, knight c4 instead of b5. So after the knight c4 move, knight takes c4, b takes c4. And I was wondering, well, how does he get his pieces out now? Maybe b5. This is actually what the engine gives, is b5. That's the best move. I'm like, cool, b5. All right, perfect. Then white plays c5. Which the idea here is very strong. In fact, if you even push the pawn, if you breathe on the pawn, you actually lose immediately after knight e5. Whoa. Sheesh. c5 was ridiculous because you just needed the e5 square to deliver mate. Perfect, right? So that's nasty. So I was like, okay, well, what does the engine give after c5? They say best move, bishop to b7. Okay, cool. All right, attack the rook here. After attacking the rook, we go queen h8 check, king f7, and can you spot the move right here? This didn't happen, but I was just curious to see, yo, take the bishop, right? Knight takes c4. Like, that bishop is annoying. Get rid of it. What do you do in this position right here? This is mind-boggling. White to move. Here we go, right? So your queen's hanging. And when your queen is hanging, sack it. Like, who cares? C takes d6. Just sack it, bro. Sack first, think later, like Grandfather Tao says. C takes d6. Oh, my goodness. This is ridiculous. After rook takes queen, knight e5 check, right? And you're thinking it's something super spectacular like a mate, but it's really not. What it is after rook takes, knight takes g6, and then king h7, knight back to e5. It's a completely winning position. I mean, like, past d pawn, this is hanging. I have to move the king out, and I have these three pawns over here. So it's a lot. It was a very cool line to actually look at, but this never happened. Hence, going back to the move here, knight takes c4 was not played because they played b5 instead. I'm like, wow, that's just insane. b5, obviously the engine calculates everything. Bishop takes b5 and rook to b8, right? Bishop a4, so at least we dislodge the bishop this time, right? And then black plays e5, okay? So e5 here is opening up the bishop line. Feels like black is kind of getting away. This is a spectacular engine move, so I'm giving you a hint here because you probably are not going to find it. You can spend an hour, probably a few days here on this position, and you won't find this move. You won't even consider this move. White to move. What is it, actually? Engine move. So I'm kind of giving you a hint. It's not what you think it is. What do you think this is? White to move. What do you do? What do you do? Here it is. Double exclam. Brilliant move right here. Bishop takes d4. What is that? What does it even do? Right? Bishop takes d4. What is this doing? What is it doing? Right? Now, of course, bishop takes d4. What this does is actually the idea is I'm going to move my king and slide the rook over. I'm getting another piece in the game. I'm also going to eliminate this because we didn't want the pawns to also be super annoying because they can push up on you a little bit. So he gets rid of it. Bishop takes d4, e takes, and then king to d2, simply stepping out of the way. little bit of patience, a little bit of sacrifice, a little bit of everything. This is a ridiculous game. After king to d2, we have bishop e6, a little bit of development there, and then rook a to f1. We're going to push f5. Could have pushed f5 before, but now we want to do it with a stronger position, and also bishop takes g5 is there. So you have to be careful. Queen takes g5 too, so you have to be very careful. But it is preparing some f5 at some point. Bishop to d7, or sorry, bishop to d5, attacking the rook. Best defense is offense. So instead of moving my rook, bishop to d7, highlighting the fact that, oh, you moved away, and I'm preparing bishop f5, queen checking, and some mating ideas, right? Okay, bishop takes h1, queen takes h1 first, queen takes h1, and then bishop takes g5 as a desperation move here. This is trying to get out. If you take, obviously, it's going to be decisive results. We don't want that. Rook's gone, but we do have a check. Boom, there it is. Queen d5 check, hitting both of these. We're definitely not going to take the bishop because our rook is hanging. We have trouble there. King h8, and now we need to block this. There's a lot going on, right? Maybe you could rook takes and then slide the other rook over. Super annoying. This is chaos, by the way. As a human trying to calculate this, your brain hurts. I totally understand, right? So white moves some bishop f5, cutting off the connection of this f4 pawn. Also, king's a little weak. Rook h1 is definitely coming as well. What is going on? Queen f7, rook h1, and you are done, right? Bishop h6, because if you go king g8, bishop e6, and now queen takes a5. So now we can play g5 at some point, but look at this position. I mean, this is like completely winning right now. Now, we do have a pawn for the exchange, right? But the position is actually winning for white. Every engine says that it is, especially with the attack. You have the opposite color bishops. Usually in opposite color bishops, the one side cannot defend. Like this dark square bishop can't defend the light squares, so we can punish them many times, obviously with the light squares. So light square strategy, that is. So queen to e8, maybe some checking ideas, right? We need something to do about it, so we go back to d5 and don't worry about the check at all. Queen e3 check, king d1, stepping out of the way. Black had enough of this. I've had enough. And sacks it back. Rook takes f5. I've had enough. You're bullying me. G takes f5, and then rook f8. Now the rest, honestly, here is precision, but everything was winning. A4, king h7, rook to e1 to kick the queen away. Queen to g3. There's like 30 moves here still. In fact, yeah, there's at least another 30 moves here. So it was a longer game. But after queen to g3, queen takes d6, rook takes f5. Seems a little shaky for white's king, but actually we are the one on the winning side. It's actually +2 here. Queen takes d4. Bishop takes f4. Everything got traded down. We get this position. This is technically winning, especially with the king being exposed and it being white to move. Rook h1, king g6, and this is a lot of checks. This takes a lot of precision. Rook e1, what a quiet move, right? Rook to e, I mean, not quiet, but not, I mean, rook e1, like to play rook e7 instead of trying to find another check, maybe perpetuate it out or try to win this game, obviously. But rook to e1 is a strong move, allowing white to have checks, or black to have checks. Queen f3 check, king c1. I'm going to tuck and roll on this side of the board. King to g8, trying to do the same. Rook e7. That is a hard move to make in this type of position here. Rook to e7, right? You guys, I mean, you would think check, maybe this check, maybe that check, like one of the checks, right? Something's got to work. Rook e7, in fact. Rook f8, tons of patience. Queen e5, hitting checkmate. Queen g4, and then king to b2. And then the rest is actually easy. a6, queen d5 check, and then we go rook e6. We're going to trade queens very soon. Very soon there's going to be a queen trade as we just go through moves here. There it is. Queen trade, rook takes a5. Rook f8. This is a clean game. I mean, I have 3 passed pawns here versus your one. In many cases, I can even sack when you play g5. But obviously, this didn't happen. Just show what will happen here. Rook d5, a5. Our goal is to push the pawns. Very easy to connect these. We can also get the rook behind, which is very easy. We push these. The game's over. g5, rook d1. King g6, rook a1. Beautiful. Push. King b3, defending the b pawn first. You could have even played c3. Doesn't really matter there. Rook a8, a6, b5, a7. b7. I mean, this is over. b8. B6, b7. Queening. And now a troll moment. Like a troll. You know what's funny? Like taking with the queen is mate in 6. Like dragon definitely trolled here, the hardest ever. Taking with the rook is mate in 15. Actually, so it's very strange. But then after king f6 is mate in 6, and then, which is done right here. Rook a5, check. Go to the other side after check. There it is. Very easy rook roller. But could have got a queen, right? What a troll from Dragon there. I just have to say that, throw that out there. But that was amazing. This was very, very tactics-like, swashbuckling tactics, all kind of things happen. You'll get that a lot of 960. That's why I highly recommend to play it. Works on your tactics, strategy, and also calculation. Very strong game for both computers here. Very cool game. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. And if you did, then definitely check out the videos right above me. And we'll see you guys on the next video.